Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Mr. Muddathir from Legacy School and this is ICT Year 7, and in today's lesson we're going to start a new unit. We're going to learn about one of the most widely used languages in the world today. And when I say languages, I mean programming languages. And the one that we're going to learn is Python. Python, the number one programming language today. Before doing that, let's talk a little bit about programming languages. Why is there a programming language, and how did we get a programming languages? We all know that electronic devices like computers, laptops, and mobile devices, or any other electronic devices, they use either on and off or 0 and 1. They only understand 0 and 1 in cases of computers and laptops. So the world was blessed with geniuses who created languages that we can use to communicate and give instructions to computers in general. And those languages like Python, they use, of course in this case, English language. They use a language that is so close to human language so that programmers like you and me use it to give computers instructions and in the end create wonderful programs that the world will use to make our lives easier. Alright, so let's get started. Python? What Python? Phase 1. Welcome to the exciting world of programming. I'm so glad that you're learning Python. You're going to master the Python language and experience the exhilaration of programming. Before we dive into the nuts and bolts of Python programming, let us first answer a few questions. What is Python? Python is a widely used high-level programming language created by Guido van Rossum in the late 1980s. The language places strong emphasis on code readability and simplicity, making it possible for programmers to develop applications rapidly. Like all high-level programming languages, Python code resembles the English language, which computers are unable to understand. Codes that we write in Python have to be interpreted by a special program known as the Python interpreter, which we'll have to install before we can code, test, and execute our Python programs. We'll look at how to install the Python interpreter later. So what I'm saying is that we write the code, the one that we're going to study, in English, that it resembles English language, but we need an interpreter for the computer to understand our code. There are also a number of third-party tools such as py2exe or py-installer. Those allow us to package our Python code into standalone executable programs for some of the most popular operating systems like Windows and Mac OS. This allows us to distribute our Python programs without requiring the users to install the Python interpreter, which means that every programmer, the minute that they're done with their programs, they need to do this so that not every single user has to install Python. Like there's an interpreter for Windows and a different interpreter for Mac OS and all. So we use those so that we can package our code into a standalone executable program, and users can just open it and install it just like we install any other program. Okay, so why are we learning Python? Why are we not learning any other high-level programming languages? There are a large number of high-level programming languages available, such as C, C++, and Java. The good news is that all high-level programming languages are very similar to one another. What differs is mainly the syntax, the way that we write the commands or the codes. Also, the libraries available and the way we access those libraries. Like if you have a library, you write the name of the library in a certain way so that you can call that library into your code. That way is different from one language to the other. A library is simply a collection of resources and pre-written codes that we can use when we write our program. If you learn one language well, you can easily learn a new language in a fraction of the time it took you to learn the first one. And that is actually true, because when I was young in college, I only learned C and C++, but then Python rose, and now everyone is using Python. And when I started learning Python, it was really easy. It wasn't like the first time I'm learning how to use or how to do codes in a programming language. Alright, so if you are new, and some of us are, to programming, Python is a great place to start. One of the key features of Python is its simplicity, making it the ideal language for beginners to learn. Most programs in Python require considerably fewer lines of code to perform the same task compared to other languages such as C. This leads to fewer programming errors and reduces the development time needed. In addition, Python comes with an extensive collection of third-party resources that extends the capability of the language. As such, Python can be used for a large variety of tasks, such as for desktop applications, the ones that we use all the time in the ICT lab, database applications, those for example like bank softwares, maybe the ATM software, financial software mostly depend on databases because there are a lot of information or data that needs to be saved and collected. Network programming, games programming, and even mobile development. Last but not least, Python is a cross-platform language. Cross-platform language. What does that mean? It means that the code written for one operating system, such as Windows, will work well on Mac OS or Linux without making any changes to the Python code. Like you wrote a program, and you wrote that program for Windows users like us, but you want to send that program to users in US where the Mac OS is very widely used. The software will work because it's a cross-platform language. Alright, so this is the end of phase 1. Phase 1, now we know what Python is, what a high-level language is, and what a cross-platform is, and why do we need high-level languages in our lives. This is a very simple, basic concept about this. This is the end of phase 1 in Python. Go straight to lesson 1, phase 2, and good luck.